Hello, everybody. This is the Seventh Rule Roundtable with Sirach Lofton.
Hello.
And a bunch of other people like myself, Ryan Husk. Melissa Longo is here. Scott Jensen, you know him as Guldu Scott. We know him as Guldu Scott. Carrie Schwent is here floating out amongst the mountains. Chuck A is hanging out as well. Dr. Susan V. Gruner. Homer Frizzell, everybody knows him as... I think this also means like wrap it up or like running out of time in like film speak too. So maybe that's what Homer's doing to us. He's like, all right, everybody, just
wrap it up.
3 orange whips.
Yeah.
The way you
TJ.
just did that though was he did
perfect.
the whoop-de-doo.
Yeah. TJ Jackson Bay is hanging out in the holodeck, of course, probably 3. J.R. Poole, the Afronaut, is here as well. Donna Runyon is hanging out with us, being cool. We've got Heather Blue, known as Heather Blue, Fulton, of course. She's got her Lower Decks shirt and blue hair today. Lance L. is here. He's wearing a Melissa Longo hat, by the way. Pretty awesome there. Pretty damn cool. And Bill Erickson is like driving a tractor or something in Montana. He's done that before. He's called in from a tractor before. It's not unheard of. All right. So today we're going to talk about Star Trek Lower Decks. And everybody knows that amazing episode. They went and visited Deep Space Nine. We saw familiar faces. And the question of the day today is, if you could make this decision, where would you want Lower Decks to visit next? We've got Kirk's Enterprise, Archer's Enterprise, Picard's Enterprise. We have Janeway's Voyager. Where would you want them to go next? And a second question does not have to be related to that. Which 2 Starfleet characters, or I guess previous episode or series characters, would you want them to see? So, for example, you could be like, I want them to visit Voyager sometime. But the 2 people I want to see the most on Lower Decks are Lita and Rom. You know, something like that. Have your fun. We'll start with Melissa Longo because there's a lot to think about, and she's great at buying us time.
Well, say hello to Mochi.
Hi, Mochi.
I would definitely go with Ryan and TJ's answer, which is Enterprise. Woohoo! Because it doesn't get nearly as much love as it deserves. And I would definitely want to see 2 characters from Enterprise. Because I feel like all the other series have kind of gotten a little bit of love and recognition from Lower Decks already. And aside from maybe the animated series, no, because they have aliens from the animated series in it too. So Enterprise, I feel like, is the one that is getting the least amount of attention. And the characters that I would like to see would be T'Pol, definitely. And then I'm going to go with Travis. Because we didn't get enough Travis on Enterprise. So those are the 2 that I'm going with.
Interesting.
Mochi
Interesting.
agrees.
Oh, thank goodness. What about you, Scott? What do you think?
Okay, I agree with what Chuck said before we started, but I'm going to let Chuck say that. It's perfection. But I would like to see the crew of Lower Decks somehow get pulled with the Time Orb into the DS9 episode and pulled back during the Trouble with Tribbles. The Trials and Tribulations, with them running around in the background, except they meet nobody but Commander Kyle and what was his name? The guy that was in engineering that was drunk all the time with his feet up in the original series. Wasn't Kelly, was it?
Riley.
Yeah. Just hanging out with the 2 of them while all the commotion's going on in the background. They don't know what's happening. You got Cisco walking by and in his old school costume, and just double, triple chaos. And them never getting to meet Kirk, never getting to meet Spock, none of that. They get hanging out with Riley and Workman, and getting Commander Kelly, or I'm lost anyway, Commander Kyle, beaming them in and out.
That's good stuff. Let's add a prediction. What do you predict would be the next ship that Lower Decks would visit, or an episode, I should say, of Lower Decks would visit?
Well, we know which ship they're going to be visiting eventually, so I'll skip that one. I would think the Enterprise eventually at some point. Well, I mean, Picard's Enterprise, I would say, probably before. Because I'm pretty sure we know they're visiting Pike's Enterprise somehow, so.
Right.
Skip.
Well, I guess I mean of the old legacy ones.
I'd like to see the Enterprise D. I don't know how they do it. Have to be time travel, but that would be pretty cool. I feel like the first 2 seasons of this show were so much callbacks and so many Easter eggs about TNG that I think it would be strange if they didn't touch it.
Melissa, do you have a prediction
on who they're going to see next?
Yeah, not necessarily who you would want the most, but who you predict that they would.
In the seasons going forward, that's a tough one. I would imagine probably what Scott says, either the Enterprise D, because there's a lot of TNG references in the show as it is, and it would make sense that they would visit that time, visit that ship because it's kind of the time. But or the Titan, because we've seen it so much. Because that maybe that's a cheating answer, but we've seen it so much. I have a feeling we haven't seen the last of it.
Yeah, true. What do you think, TJ?
Not yet.
Are you still researching?
The name of an episode.
All right. We'll skip TJ for now then. What do you think, Sue?
I would love them to go to Archer's Enterprise, and I would love them to watch the ridiculous, as much as I love the show, and I do. And if it wasn't for Sirach, I would never have watched it. And I watched it and I loved it. But the scenes with Trip and T'Pol doing putting the cream on them, I would love. I think that, and I have not seen Lower Decks yet, but I think that they would rip that apart hilariously, and I would like to see that. And I would also like to see them go to the original series Enterprise with Spock, Kirk, and everything. But yeah, those scenes were just drive me nuts.
What characters would you want to see the most? Would it be Trip and T'Pol putting Ben Gay on each other, or what?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
Mixed vapor rub.
Do you have any predictions, though? What you think that they're actually going to do?
I'm hoping that, again, I haven't seen it yet, but I'm hoping that they cover it all. But the original series would be great.
Okay.
Oh, it would be so great to see Spock, McCoy, and Kirk, and Scotty, and oh man, I miss those guys.
Well, Chuck A., you know those guys well. Is that your answer? Do you want to see Kirk's Enterprise?
Well, I was thinking two different ones. I was thinking the original series, the animated series. I think, that would fit in since it's already an animated show. And then I was just thinking, I think Prodigy is a few years later, I think. But, they can do a time travel to Prodigy. Ooh. Maybe see Janeway and some of the other characters in there. And I thought I heard that they were thinking about that, but that would be interesting as well. Now, favorite characters, if you go back to the animated series, you'd have to pick. Chekhov wasn't in it, so you have Sulu that could reprise his character, and I guess you just have to show. I guess Kirk Shatner. That'd be actually good for Shatner to do a voiceover, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
And then Prodigy, like I said, I'd like to see Janeway and maybe first.
Sorry, what was that last thing you said?
I'd like to see if they visit Prodigy. I'd like to see Janeway and maybe Murph.
Yeah.
Or Rock Talk, where they could do all of them actually.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But I think they're both animated already, so you don't have to worry about a live action thing.
If you had to predict, Chuck, setting aside all the wishes and the wants in the world, what would you predict would be the next thing, the next group they visit?
I'm going to predict the original animated series, because they already show a lot of the aliens and references from that show already. So that'd be my guess right there.
That would be so awesome. Cool Jake and Nog picture in your background, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, that's in the cards. In the cards, Sirach signed it, but Aaron didn't.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, lots of good stuff back there.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right, Heather, you've got the Lower Decks shirt. You are so ready for this question. What have you got for us?
I think that my prediction is probably the animated series too. I would kind of like to see them visit the Enterprise D, because there's been, again, a lot of references to it. They seem very familiar with, everything going on over there. Maybe they could meet up with Wesley Crusher and Robin Leffler over there. Have a little fun.
Right.
All right. What can you imagine the hijinks that they would have with Wesley and Robin?
That was what I was thinking. I don't know specifically what, but that is what I was thinking. A lot of hijinks.
I told you Ashley Judd was going to come up.
What was?
Ashley Judd.
Yeah. We didn't mention her earlier. All right, TJ, we're ready for you. Are you going to go with the episode Justice? Speaking of Wesley Crusher.
Close. Okay.
Oh no.
If they had to revisit an episode, then they need to go back to drum roll, Code of Honor.
Oof. They would skewer that episode.
Right? Oh my god.
Because it can't get any worse.
I can't imagine the things that Mariner would say if she was.
Wow.
Yeah, I want to see that. And as far as characters, I'm with Melissa. I definitely would love to see some Travis Mayweather, bring Anthony Montgomery in and do the thing. Another thought I had is I would love to see them, since the Enterprise D is being brought up so much, meet the lower deckers that were in the original Lower Decks episodes. That would be cool and awesome.
Ito,
Lavelle, Ito, and Nurse Ogawa,
and Torek.
Torek, yes, the Vulcan.
Yes.
Not Vorik, but Torek.
Right.
Totally different guy. Totally.
Yeah, twin brother.
Totally.
Wow, good stuff. So you looked up Code of Honor, huh?
I couldn't remember. I can never remember the name of it because I think my brain deletes it on purpose.
It's got a firewall around it.
Yeah. TNG's like, please do. All right.
Sirach, if you haven't seen this episode, then you have to watch it just to get the reference.
There was a lot of dots there. You're like, if you haven't seen this episode, dot. Yeah. Okay. Srock's writing that down. He's like, all right, I got to see this thing.
Yeah. No.
Let's see. We all got mixed around. Did we call on you yet, JR?
No,
No. What do you got for us?
nothing much.
You have to have an answer.
You do. I think Lower Decks is one of the franchises that can intermix with all of them, because we're so focused on the captain and the three main characters. That's why I like Lower Decks so much, because you can get in the nuance of these episodes. I would love them to go back to Archer's Enterprise, and somehow see that Trip is alive and tell him, in the future they got your death wrong,
Right.
and some hijinks happens, and Trip gives like some notes to Riker. It's like, I know you're watching me. This is wrong. As far as predictions go, again, like there's so much stuff we can visit with Lower Decks. That's what makes it so good and juicy. Like last night's episode, who knew that? Well, I don't ever watch the previews, by the way, before the next show, so I'm always surprised.
Mm-hmm.
So I was quite surprised with this one. I really liked it.
Don't tell me.
Oh yeah, I was just being in the Lower Decks. It's like, again, we're not on the bridge all the time, so we get to see all these other things that are happening, which is really, really cool. I think it'd be kind of funny if they want to visit the Enterprise and they go back to the Yamato by mistake.
Oh no! Refresh my memory. What's the Yamato?
Yeah,
that blew
the
up.
sister ship to the Enterprise.
The one that found the Iconian planet.
Right.
Episode Contagion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Everybody has really, really good ideas, by the way. I mean, like, we could all just write episodes from just this Zoom chat.
Mike, paging Mike McMahon.
He's already listening. He's listening.
Man,
Right.
if there's one thing that I hope Mike McMahon hears is the idea that the Lower Deckers go back and see Troy and Riker watching the final episode of Enterprise.
Yeah.
And then because they go back in time or something, and they're like, wait a minute, what is this crap? And then they go back in time more and they save Trip, and then they change everything, and then anyway, that's Mike's hopefully already working on that.
Right.
Right, Mike? Right?
Yeah, no spoilers though. About Enterprise, that is. Homer, are you listening, Homer? We don't see your picture.
Oh, sorry about that. I thought I was just not seeing my picture, and I was fine with that. My apologies. Now, can you see me?
No.
Nope.
Turn your light on.
Voice.
That's
Is the light
crazy.
just off? Is it? What is this?
Yeah, your camera covered or something.
Now I'm
you go.
back.
There you are.
What an awesome cloaking
That's
device
interesting.
you have
Okay, I learned something. So I've had too much time to think about this question, and I have a couple thoughts. One, I think it would be fun for them to go to the Voyager episode that has the rock. So what's that? Sun Katsi, I think it is. So you'd have Seven, and you'd have also J.G. Hertzler in that one as well. So that could be interesting. He's a Hirogen hunter.
Mm-hmm.
Ransom
Then another
would like
one.
to get in on that fight.
Who wants to do that?
Ransom.
Yeah, Ransom could do that.
He wants to wrestle with
He
the
could
Rock.
strip off his shirt and go for it. I think that would be fun. And then I've got two others, if you don't mind. One briefly here, if they don't want to change the time, they could see Guinan at some point somewhere. So that could happen just about anywhere. But if you want a specific ship, I'm going to go with the HMS Bounty when there are a couple of whales.
Okay.
So taking it to the movie.
I'm with you.
Perfect.
And you have a couple folks from Cetacean Ops as well with them. So it's a way mission for those guys.
Mm-hmm. Don't get in that ship with your dirty shoes on, that's for sure.
That's right.
That's messed up, man.
It is.
By the way,
That's
Sirach,
messed up.
did you see the poster in the background of JR back here?
Yeah, I
Check
saw.
this.
This is awesome.
Check it out.
Cisco kid, yep.
Wow. That's the best.
There it is.
So would the belugas from Lower Decks be playing with the whales from the movie?
They would, I don't know if they'd be playing necessarily. It would depend on the nature of the mission, but they would help in the way of communicating whatever the issue is. Now, it doesn't have to be on the Bounty, though I think that would be cool. It could also be the descendants of those whales on Earth, because maybe the probe is coming back.
Yeah.
Oh,
That
There
is
you go.
interesting.
although whales do live a very long time. Well,
Yeah.
not that long, but not that long. Never
So
mind.
if the beluga talked to the whales, would that be first contact because they're part of Starfleet?
They would say,
I'm going to
"There
say
be whales
yes.
And they speak
I got
the
a yes
same
from Homer.
language.
That's all
First
you need,
contact.
Scott. As long as Homer says yes, no, that's it.
Home run.
There it is.
Donna, hello, all the
Had
way from
two.
Maryland. All right, what do we
Yes.
got?
So, well, some that I thought of were already been mentioned, but I was thinking that it would be really funny if they went, and I don't know if you remember the Threshold Voyager episode.
We all remember that.
So if they,
Yeah.
if they went and they
Trying
said,
to forget.
hey, found the little babies. What happened to those little babies? After the fact. So I thought that would be interesting. And then, I thought it would be interesting too if they saw like Icheb and Naomi Wildman
Oh, all the
from
kids.
Voyagers. Yeah.
The next
So, 'cause
generation of Voyager.
Yeah, because Icheb wanted to go into Starfleet, so maybe he ends up being a lower decker on some ship.
What were the names of
Lower Decker.
the other Borg babies or the Borg kids?
There was the twins.
Yeah. And there are a couple others. I don't remember their names. Well, Donna, do you have a prediction, though, as to where you think they're going to go next?
I'm sure they're going to see 7 of 9.
Oh, that would be fun.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I have a prediction that she'll be on there at some point.
What makes you predict this? You're sure of it. It makes it sound like you know something we don't.
I don't know something, but I just think that 7's pretty popular right now, so I'm sure that she'd be out there. And then we might see something with Section 31. Who knows?
Yeah, good call.
Okay, I found the names of the Borg kids. Besides Icheb, the other 4, and I think the other 4 were like in a group or something, right? It was Mizadi, Azan, and Rebbe. Oh, wait, so I think maybe that's 4 altogether. Yeah, so Icheb, Azan, Rebbe, and Mizadi were the 4 Borg kids. So
To
for
quote
everybody that
Commander
knew
Reno,
that,
I've already forgotten that.
You dumped them off on some planet they stopped by.
Yeah.
Icheb's the only one that got back.
All right, Mr. Bill Erickson, hanging out by a barn in Montana. Looks like it's a little chilly.
All I want to know is if he's growing dental floss. Are you growing any dental floss in Montana?
Yeah, right here. Can you see it right here? Here it is, Sue, right here. See that?
Not many people will get.
I'll
give 10 points to anybody that knows what I'm talking about when I say dental floss in Montana. Wow, I'm showing my age.
Hi, Lord Frank Zappa. Moving to Montana soon. Gonna be a dental floss tycoon.
Ooh.
Thank you.
Good knowledge.
Kids these days, I tell you, no appreciation of the classics.
Oh my gosh.
A+.
Yeah, good knowledge, guys. We all learned something today, and we'll forget it very
That's
quickly.
that's Frank Zappa. Is that what it is?
Yeah, it's Frank Zappa. Frank Zappa and the Mothers.
Frank Zappa was kind of a way out there guy. He really spoke his mind on things in life.
Frank Zappa had no fear when it came to. He was one of those people that if it was right, it was to be done, and that's all there was to it. There was no making excuses about it. He was a free speech advocate. He was a small government advocate. He was an advocate for anybody that was underrepresented as well. I mean, he was just solidly in that line. I mean, you know, he didn't play when it came to the world. So
I saw that. I saw that through his interviews. Obviously, I wasn't there firsthand, but I've seen his interviews and I've seen how he talks, and I said, "Wow, this is probably why you haven't heard so much about the guy. Why they kind of like to bury him in the past, because he's pretty outspoken about government and politics and everything." So I was like, how come I never really hear about Frank Zappa? You never hear about him in the same context as you hear about the old other legends in music. And I pretty much could say it's because of the interviews he gave and what he said during those interviews. He was pretty outspoken.
Yeah. And then there's I did Kickstarter a documentary that's based on stuff coming out of his vault.
Yeah, I was looking for that actually just now because I just remembered that.
Oh, what's his name? Alex, the blonde guy from Bill and Ted. He's actually directing a documentary, and he's got access. They restored a whole bunch of old footage and audio and all kinds of stuff. And the documentary is supposed to be coming out within the next year or so. So that's cool. That's fun.
And FYI, his children's name are Dweezil and Moon Unit.
I thought it was Ahmed. Dweezil and Ahmed, wasn't it?
No, Dweezil and Moon Unit. Dweezil was a guitarist, and they were both on MTV. They got them both on MTV back in the day.
Google says Moon, Dweezil, Ahmed, and Diva.
Oh, okay.
So the other two, okay.
Yeah, I didn't know. I wasn't sure about the other two, but yeah.
It was between Dweezil and Dwasshole.
Yeah, but that Kickstarter broke a record. If I remember correctly. And then the Voyager documentary broke that record.
Ryan.
Well, thanks to everybody, but we were definitely keeping an eye on that. That's how I know about that documentary, was because we're like, okay, that's the one.
Yeah.
We set our sights on that one.
But who headed that campaign? Ryan.
Well, maybe, but I also think Bill Erickson did. And
I did both of those Kickstarters. I contributed to both of them.
But thanks, Melissa Longo. Yeah, we put in a lot of work into that.
I want to see that Frank Zappa documentary coming out. That's going to be interesting.
Yeah, it's called "Who the Fuck is Frank Zappa?" I believe that's what it is, right? No, I think
that is absolutely correct.
That's the
name of the documentary.
Alex Winter, that's the guy you're.
Alex Winter, that's the guy. Yeah.
I had to find out. Yeah, it's actually. It was a nice little rabbit hole that I went down looking to find out who Frank Zappa was, because I had never heard his music, or he's not big in my culture, but at least during my time period. But when I started to look him up, I was like, oh, this guy's pretty. He's pretty outspoken, and he has some interesting views on the world, and he did not pull any punches on expressing those views. Alex Winter, that's the guy from Bill and Ted.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. We've been sidetracked enough. We're all when we're done with this, we're all gonna go hop on this thing and check out all these goodies. But Bill,
what were the particulars of the question now? The
question is, what Kickstarter campaigns have you donated to? What ship do you want Lower Decks to visit next, or group? And what 2 characters would you like to see?
And predictions.
Yeah, and the prediction. Oh, to answer your first question, I've done over 240 Kickstarters, and I'm at 120 Indiegogos.
Wow. This guy, what a giver. Thanks, Bill.
And
you are a community man.
Is that Bill or Ted Turner?
It's not like it's a lot of money every time, it's I mean, there's it's like $50 to $100, $150, depending upon what the item is. So it is what it is.
That's awesome.
Anyway, ship, I would like to see the NX-01. I want them to see the NX-01 for the same reason that others have mentioned. I want them to have them go see that and go back and go, what the hell is wrong with Riker and Troy? They don't know anything. What is this program they're running? It's wrong. And show us why Trip Tucker lived. That one's there. So I want to see, and Trip and Paul. Yeah. And I want to see the kids going, what is this stuff? And Flock's telling them it's for their own good. Just slather it all on. Boimler, and everyone else is looking ick. And then the next flash scene is Boimler standing there with the towel and his hair swooped up with the gel. So, I'm in it. I'm on it. Because Boimler, he's all about a spa. He's all about spa days. So, and my prediction is that, that's my prediction.
Same.
Yeah.
Somebody's got a nice bird chirping too.
Yeah, I do.
I think that's Bill.
Nice.
Yeah, I got a couple birds here floating around. It's that time of year. Yeah, but and the prediction is that Paul will show up. I'm pretty firm in that one. I mean, when it comes to Lower Decks is after Voyager gets back from the Delta Quadrant. Okay, so it's not much time after it because Paris is still only a lieutenant. But so it's well before Prodigy, because in Prodigy, Janeway, she's got gray in her hair, and serious gray, and Chakotay is pretty old looking too. So, thinking there's some time there. So it could be. I mean, it could be there's a flash forward or something. Some time crystal event.
Oh boy.
Time crystals.
It's always the time crystals. It's always the damn time crystals.
You see, Bill, that delay that Sirach had before he said time crystals tells you the kind of rabbit hole you threw him down when you mentioned Frank Zappa. That's where he went.
Oh, that was Sue mentioned Frank Zappa. I just talked about him.
Aaron loved those time crystals.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
All right. Well, speaking of things that Aaron loved, Lance is here floating outside of Deep Space Nine. What's up, Lance? What have you got for us?
So I had some time to think about this, and this may even be a story pitch. I don't know. There was an animated episode. I think it was called The Practical Joker, season 2 of the animated series. And it was basically like the computer gets all messed up and starts doing practical jokes on people. And so anyways, there's a scene where McCoy is in like a holodeck on the actual Enterprise, and it gets all messed up. And so out of nowhere, Badgie shows up, and he's the one that's like messing with everybody. Like, that's also the episode where Kirk has the Kirk is a jerk on the back of his shirt. I don't know if you've seen that. So it's just, it's not the computer messing with people, it's just Badgie. And then, time crystals or whatever. So then the Lower Decks have to like get Badgie back because he's like messing with the future. And then at the end, it's kind of like the Trouble with Tribbles episode. So they can use the original like McCoy voices, Sulu, and I think Uhura was also in the actual holodeck. And so I just remember the scene where McCoy was walking and it's all snowy, and so Badgie's just like screwing with him, like, "Oh, you want a coat? Well, I got this right here," but he won't give it to him. So I think it'd be fun. I know they've talked about the idea of like doing the animated, maybe doing an animated crossover. But, I don't know what kind of style that they would use. Badgie would probably look a little out of place in HD, so they'd have to redraw him.
Yeah, that was McCoy. All McCoy wanted, he was just looking. He was just trying to have a picnic with the chick. That's all he was trying to do.
Poor McCoy.
Never gets love.
And Lance, do you have a prediction though? That's what you want. But how likely is that? What's your prediction?
Probably. I mean, they're going to have to go to that Enterprise D. I mean, that just kind of makes sense. Whether it be a holodeck episode or whatever, and then they could just have all the voices. And, maybe even mess with the Enterprise finale a little bit, where it's just Riker is sitting there on the Titan reviewing it and just like saying, "See, I didn't screw up all the finales," or something like that.
Doesn't Lance look like a coach? I swear, you look like you coach like the Cardinals, like a football coach. You look like you're a coach of the Cardinals or the Chiefs or something.
Coached some 12-year-olds in flag football once, but we lost pretty big. So. But they tried.
He was an offensive coordinator, but he lost his job. I understand.
Yeah, it's just really throw to the kid that's really tall, and they kind of caught on to that.
Well, no stranger to coaching, by the way, is Carrie Schwent, of course. Carrie, what are your thoughts on all this?
Voyager is the series that I rewatch the most, so I definitely like to see them go to whatever version of Voyager is current, and I want Harry Kim on the bridge with the GD promotion he deserves.
Second pip.
Hashtag justice for Harry Kim, and I want Naomi Wildman to be in Starfleet, and she can be a Voyager lower decker.
Mm-hmm. However,
I can absolutely see her in Starfleet.
However, what's your prediction, though? Because that's not too unheard of. It might happen.
Or whatever current version of the Enterprise, I think.
Mm-hmm.
It'll be the Enterprise E, probably.
Yeah, Naomi and Starfleet would be awesome. Okay, I think we got everybody. The squares kind of moved around on me. Did I miss anybody? Nope. All right, Sirach. This is it. Drop the hammer on them. Who's right? What do you think? Frank Zappa.
Right.
I know.
Zappa.
I was I kind of had a different take on everything. So doesn't Jerry O'Connell do one of the voices on this show?
Yeah, Ransom.
He's Ransom.
Right.
Handsome Ransom.
So I wanted to do a cluster. You know what the other word is? A cluster of kind of mismatching things in this in my version of the lower decks. I would take the ship that I want to see them on is the Love Boat. And since Jerry O'Connell is doing one of the voices, I see them also promoting the new Love Boat show that they're doing, reality show with Rebecca Romaine, as a matter of fact. So I would kind of like to see a Love Boat Star Trek episode. Would be nice to have a guest starring, like even if they could just use the voice of Ricardo Montalban, Montalban. A little bit of his voice, a little bit of the plane guy, the plane boss, the plane, and like a little Love Boat-ish episode. That's since it's a comedy, and I'm going to take it somewhere else. I'm going to go Love Boat on them.
And if Jerry O'Connell's there, you got to have Rebecca Romaine as well, right?
You gotta do it.
Mm-hmm.
She can definitely get a star on there. But since they're promoting the new Love Boat, I think they're bringing back the Love Boat. Paramount Plus, as a matter of fact. So it would actually be a perfect
backdoor pilot.
Amalgamation. A perfect amalgamation for Paramount's products.
They're bringing back the Love Boat? Seriously?
It's Star Trek.
Oh my God.
Yeah, they're bringing back the Love Boat. I think it's more of a reality, like a
Bill
reality
loves this idea.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah.
It's gonna be Survivor, but on the Love Boat. Who can take the most from the buffet and still walk away?
Worf.
The Love Boat's on Risa.
Yeah.
Well, we got to go in just a second here, everybody. I'm going to second what, or fifth or whatever, what a lot of people said. I would love to see Enterprise get some love. I would love Hoshi and Travis to get some love because I always felt that those two were the most underutilized characters. I always was super excited about all the characters they introduced in Enterprise, but I felt like Hoshi, Travis, a little bit of Reed didn't quite get as much attention. They tried to have that like triumvirate, of three people, I also wanted to see a little bit more of Major Hayes and the lady who replaced him in the fourth season. I don't remember who that was, the Mako lady. But anyway, Travis and Hoshi for me. Prediction, I think they might do an Enterprise thing. I think they just might do it because remember, Mike McMahon's like one of us. He's a big Star Trek fan. He's a big nerd, and he's got a writer's room full of Star Trek nerds. So they're thinking the same thing we're thinking is like, ooh, how do we get Harry Kim to be a lieutenant? Or maybe we could demote him. They're thinking the same stuff, we are. So, if it's something we want to see, it's probably something they want to see too,
So Midshipman Kim, what did you do this time?
The other prediction is Jake Sisko on Lower Decks.
Yes. At some point, yes.
It's gonna happen.
This has to happen.
My prediction, I'm gonna make a prediction there that next year at some point, Sirach's not gonna be available for taping one day.
I know. We totally can't be doing because Sirach's just gonna look away. He's like, I can't say anything. I can't nod or shake my head.
There is a character that I do think should get some love too that I haven't seen recently, and that's Worf. I haven't seen him on any of the other new shows.
Well, he's going to be in Picard.
Be in Picard.
Yeah, final season of Picard. He's all over that.
I'm excited about seeing Worf actually in the Picard final season, because he deserves his credit for his contributions to the multiple series and stuff.
He does.
Movie. So
raise a glass of prune juice to him, everybody.
Yeah.
All right, we got to run, but this was a lot of fun. And that's why at the very beginning of this thing, before we hit record, I mentioned Enterprise because I'm like, I was already a one-track mind thinking about Enterprise on Lower Decks. But thank you to JR, Scott, Melissa, Sue, Chuck, Heather, Homer, Carrie, Bill and his birds, Lance, TJ, for Sirach Lofton and myself. This has been fun. It's been a great roundtable. We're looking forward to more cool Star Trek. And we'll see you all soon. Until next time.
Gary's husband in the background.
Yeah, his hand. Yeah, there he is.
There it is.
We'll see you next time. Until then, always remember the 7th rule.